3 months before the college entrance exam, both my sister and I were bound to a system. She was bound to the rich family childbearing system, while I was bound to the academic excellence bonus system. On the day of the exam, she was immediately noticed by the young master of a wealthy family, love at first sight, and she married directly into a wealthy family. I ranked in the top 10 of the school and entered a prestigious university, with my academic qualifications steadily rising. Right after graduation, I earned an annual salary of $1 million, becoming a social elite. When we met again, she had given birth to 10 children in 8 years, covered in jewels but with a twisted face. She stabbed me to death with a single blow. I chose the fast track to success, yet I'm living worse than you, a mere laborer. Why? This time, after being reborn, she preemptively chose the academic overachiever bonus system. She left the elite family childbirth system to me. I gladly accepted it. She had no idea. Combining academic excellence with an elite family background is a winning hand. Does the elite family childbirth system necessarily mean having children? After school, my sister Madison didn't wait for me to walk home together. When we got home, she proudly handed me a coin. "Sis, I found a coin. Take a look. The pattern is really pretty." I looked at her but didn't reach out. Seeing that I didn't take it, she suddenly grabbed my hand and placed a gold coin in my palm. The next moment, a strange sound echoed in my mind. I have bound the elite family heir system. Seeing the sparkle in her eyes, I know she has also been reborn. She ran right after school just to be the first to reach the alley, to pre-bind the top student bonus system. In our previous life, we saw 1 gold and 1 silver coin on our way home from school. Madison curiously picked them up, then with a changed expression, handed one to me. The coin touched my hand, and the system was bound. She happily asked me what system I had bound at that time. Upon learning it was the academic excellence point system, she joked that I wouldn't need to burn the midnight oil studying anymore. "Sis, I got the marry into a rich family system. Good thing I found this first. I really don't want to be a bookworm. School is so exhausting, but for ordinary families like ours, how can we just casually cross social classes and marry into a wealthy family?" I advised her, "Don't worry about this bizarre system for now. The college entrance exam is coming up soon. Let's focus on studying and aim to get into a good university." My sister rolled her eyes. "The system says he will definitely help me marry into a wealthy family. Mind your own business. Studying so much only to end up working for someone else. What's the point?" This time, I deliberately avoided taking that path. I don't want my life to be manipulated by some so-called system. But Madison was also reborn, and she noticed me spacing out with a coin in my hand. Her gaze suddenly turned shadowy. "Sis, you've also bound the system, right? This time, it's your turn to become a baby-making tool." Ha. I'm going to be an elite white-collar worker, living a chic, bourgeois life that people admire. I looked at her calmly and said the same words as in my past life. "What are you talking about? The exam is coming up, so you should focus on studying." She carelessly tossed her bag aside. "I have a bonus point system, so I'm definitely going to score higher than you." I shook my head and stopped talking. She really thought, did I make it into the top 10 in the school in my previous life by relying on the bonus point system? At midnight, I was still solving problems in my room. The system spoke up in my mind. "Nancy, why are you working so hard? You're going to become a wealthy wife in the future. What's the use of learning these things when you have a maid at home and a driver when you go out?" I asked in a low voice. "Did you use to lure my sister like this too?" The voice was too soft, and the system didn't seem to hear it. What did it ask? I shake my head. "I don't care what kind of nonsense you are. Don't talk to me before my college entrance exams. It's best if you just shut up," it scoffed. "Staying up late like this damages your skin and might affect your future rich husband's interest in you. Then don't look at me." It stopped talking. Madison got up in the middle of the night and saw that I was still studying, and threw my test papers on the ground. "What are you pretending? You have a system. You'll become a wealthy lady in the future. Even if you get 0 on the exam, you'll still be a wealthy lady." I looked at her, pity in my eyes. Even after living a second life, she still doesn't understand that if one's virtue does not match their position, disaster is inevitable. The system that suddenly appeared, she only sees half the words, only the benefits. "Madison, do you really think having a system guarantees everything? At best, our family is upper middle class. What makes you think the elite would favor us, anyway? I don't trust the system. Whether you believe it or not is up to you." Madison raised an eyebrow smugly. "This is fate. In novels, only the female lead gets this kind of treatment." I must have the script of a powerful female protagonist, destined to rise and become part of the upper-class elite. There's no use trying to reason with someone determined to walk to their doom, so I stopped paying attention to her. After all, it's been years since I last looked at high school material. I need to invest a lot of time and effort to improve my grades, to ensure I can get into a prestigious university just like in my previous life. Madison, however, has slacked off, relying on her bonus point system, used it once on the practice exam, and the score jumped from the usual around 500 to over 600. She wasn't foolish enough to max out the bonus all at once, holding a better practice score than mine. See, I don't have to work as hard, but I still scored better than you. Don't be envious. I'm also looking forward to it. You'll soon become a wealthy socialite. She emphasized the last two words with a biting tone, her voice dripping with schadenfreude. But that night, I heard muffled groans of pain coming from her room. Her parents were initially very happy to see Madison's grades improve. Upon hearing the noise, they anxiously knocked on the door. When the door opened, Madison still had fine beads of sweat on her forehead. They anxiously asked her what was wrong, but Madison stared at me with hatred in her eyes. Why didn't you mention the side effects in the previous life? Why? I was shocked by her deranged appearance. What are you saying? My parents anxiously touched her head. Is studying too tiring? You should take a break. You've been improving very quickly. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Madison carefully observed my face, suddenly gave a sinister smile and then cried to our parents, my sister is unhappy because I did better than her on this exam. I just drank the water she poured for me, and now my stomach hurts terribly. It's killing me. The next moment, Mom slapped me. Claude, look at how she can be so vicious. I've treated her well, haven't I? If anything happens to Madison, I won't let you off. My dad's slap quickly followed, and my ears rang with a loud buzz. Did you do something to your sister's water? Are you that jealous of her? She's your own sister. Madison has always been like this since she was little. Using crying to get attention, whether it's buying toys or sharing snacks, Mom always favored her. She would hold my hand and tell me to give in to my sister. I thought it was because my sister had been frail since childhood, so I always cared for her and gave in to her. Later, I found out she was my stepmother. My mother passed away when I was very young. I don't have many memories of her and always considered her my real mother. But as I grew older, I realized that since she was my stepmother, why is Madison, who is my half-sister, only 1 month younger than me? In my previous life, after Madison married into a wealthy family, I rarely came back while studying abroad. I covered my face and glanced at my father with a mocking look, picked up the water glass on Madison's table and drank it all in one go. A single word from her and you suspect me. What a good daughter you are. It seems blood is thicker than water. Only the one who gave birth truly cares. With a stepmother comes a stepfather. Usually, the family of 4 got along harmoniously and managed just fine, so in my previous life, after reaching adulthood, I didn't dwell on those unpleasant details anymore. This time, my stepmother had been putting on a facade of harmony for so many years, and I was the one who tore it apart ahead of time. My father's face turned pale and then flushed with anger, and I walked out the door without looking back. Madison wasn't actually having a stomachache at all. In my previous life, I was bound to a top student bonus point system, which promised me extra points for every exam. For example, in the college entrance exam, I could only score 500, but if I wanted to reach 700, then let him add 200 points. Moreover, the system requires that each edition must be at least 100 points. How could such a good thing come without a cost? The cost is that I have to take 100 major exams and earn extra points 100 times, and each time points are added, there is a strong electric shock to empower the system. The more points added, the stronger the electric shock, which prevents you from scoring points by handing in a blank paper. But I didn't compromise. I carefully looked for loopholes in the system. I didn't want it to add points. Instead, I chose to use it to cultivate myself into a true academic elite. Every time I finish solving a problem on my own, I immediately ask it, if I were a top student, what kind of approach should I take to solve the problem? It answers perfectly. Before the college entrance exam, the system was to me, it's like having dozens of top tutors coaching me alone. After developing my brain and reshaping my learning mindset for 16 hours every day, I became a true academic prodigy. My originally above-average grades gradually climbed to the top of the class in mock exams. I don't want extra points, and the system can't shock me either, because my score can't exceed 100, otherwise it would be higher than the total possible score. How can it not be considered a completed task? it's a system for top students to earn extra points, and I've already become a top student. How could a top student not be toiling and exhausted? During that time, I was even solving problems in my dreams. My hair was falling out in clumps. It was even more exhausting than not having the system bound, and at that time, Madison was learning about makeup and skin care. I told her to review, but she tore up all the test papers. She cursed at me frantically. You're just jealous that I'll marry into a wealthy family someday. You can't stand to see me do well. You want me to stay up late studying and become ugly. I had reminded her at the time. We're both from ordinary families. Is marrying into a wealthy family really that great? Do you think there's no price to pay? She dismissed it. The system says all I need to do is have a child. Of course, marrying into a wealthy family means having children. What kind of price is that? If it didn't let me have one, I'd still find a way to secure my position. Madison wouldn't listen to anything. The system definitely didn't inform her in advance that there was a quota requirement for having children. Failing to meet the quota would result in punishment. Nor did it tell her that her wealthy husband had a wild side and unusual preferences. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and she, having lived again, knew this rule well but never mentioned a word, only wanting to see me walk her path. Why should I tell her? This time she was howling in pain in the room. It must have been the electric shock after the system added points, and she miscalculated. I would never let the system control my life. Madison added another 680 points to her second mock exam score, even higher than last time. On the evening the results came out, I could still hear her sobbing. Only after the sound stopped did my parents open the door and hold her with heartache. Don't push yourself so hard with studying, Madison. No matter which school you get into, we can support you. Mom just wants you to be healthy. Madison shook her head and said firmly, I'm playing the role of the top student and female lead. The college entrance exam is coming up, and I'm going to get the highest score in the school to honor you and make you proud. Then, top universities will be fighting over me. A little hardship is nothing compared to the glory of a high score. After saying this, she snuggled up to her mother's shoulder and glanced at me sideways, mouthing the words, this time, I must be the happiest and most dazzling person. I still have my parents who love me. You can go to hell. Half a month before the college entrance exam, my grades finally caught up to the level of my previous life. Watching myself easily solve those problems, I've regained the feeling of being a top student from my previous life. I took a weekend to go to the bank and opened a bank account for myself, and also opened a stock trading account. In my previous life, by the time I graduated, the stock market was no longer the best time to enter. I clearly remember the curves of the stocks I was trapped in. I found my classmate and borrowed some money from him. I knew he had money because of the class reunion in my previous life. During our conversation, he mentioned that after coming of age in high school, he used all his New Year's money to invest in stocks, made a huge fortune, sneaking around, not daring to tell anyone. In the cicada-chirping June, the day of the college entrance exam finally arrived. Madison was arranged by her parents to stay at a hotel near the exam site a day earlier. And they were there with her, and I was in another exam hall, but when I left the house, I suddenly found that the door wouldn't open no matter what. The prepared exam admission ticket had also vanished. Even the phone is gone. There was only a note from Madison on the table. Dear sister, just wait to marry into a wealthy family and become a gold digger. I won't allow you to marry into a wealthy family with such good grades. Who told you to score so well in these mock exams? I'll let you out tomorrow to meet your true love. Today, just sleep in and pamper yourself at home. Don't thank me too much, sis. In her previous life, after being bound to the system, Madison stopped studying. She only took the exam for one day, and on the second day, she met the wealthy young Master Donald and got into his sports car. The two of them actually went for a drive. Their grades were even more impressive, and they got married in a flash during the summer vacation. She wanted me to achieve similar grades as hers. Fearing that I wouldn't match her from the previous life, I clenched my fists, determined not to just sit back and do nothing. I looked out the window, 15th floor, and carefully leaned out after opening it. The long silent system suddenly spoke up. What are you doing? Are you trying to get yourself killed? This exam really doesn't matter to you. Just stay home and sleep all day. Tomorrow, you'll meet your wealthy husband. Shut up. Fortunately, the buildings were close together, and I could see the next balcony from mine. I used a mop handle to reach the neighbor's window. I knocked and shouted. I hoped the neighbors would hear, but surprisingly, no one was home on either side. I could only lean out and shout loudly toward the ground floor, help, there's a fire, help. After a while, someone finally noticed me. they contacted the firefighters to pry the door open. While they were prying the door, I asked them to urgently contact my teacher to prepare a backup admission ticket for me at the exam site. The moment the door opened, my tense nerves refused to relax. As the exam was about to begin, after saying thank you, I rushed out the door. Fortunately, I made it in time. When the day's exams were over, I saw Madison and my parents at the school gate. Madison's eyes were filled with jealousy and resentment. "I told you to stay at home, why did you come out?" I slapped her hard across the face. "Give me back my phone, don't make me call the police." Mom raised her hand in a fury. "Your sister was so looking forward to you picking her up to have a meal together, afraid you'd say we were biased and didn't spend time with you. Her test center is far away, and this is how you treat her." I dodged her and pulled Madison's bag, rummaging through it to find my phone, opened the social media app, on a short video. I was trapped at home on the day of the college entrance exam. The news of being rescued by firefighters and riding a traffic police motorcycle to the exam hall became a hot topic. My dad widened his eyes. "How could you go to the exam hall on a motorcycle? I left you money for a taxi." I just stared at Madison. "Don't let me see you during these 2 days of exams, or I'll call the police. If others find out you cheated on your test, what do you think will happen?" I walked away without looking back, ignoring the sharp insults and accusations. Look at the ungrateful child I raised. Is it just because I didn't accompany her to the exam? All these years, the neighbors have been watching. Not a single person has said I'm a bad stepmother, right? He's nothing but an ungrateful wolf. Now that he's grown up, he's turned heartless. All that obedience before was just an act. The teacher, after learning about what happened this morning, comforted me and advised me to adjust my emotions. I'm no longer the girl who would hide and cry over the slightest injustice at home. I am Nancy, reborn and already experienced in the workforce. She let me stay at her house to prepare for the exam tomorrow. I wanted to refuse, but then I remembered what Madison said about tomorrow. I agreed. The next day, the teacher personally escorted me to school. On the road, our car collided with a sports car. I saw the strangeness with my own eyes. The teacher was driving so steadily. I knew it was the system's doing. What was meant to happen would always come. I recognized Donald the moment he stepped out of the red Ferrari. In the previous life, Madison had taken him home. Donald took off his sunglasses, revealing an extremely handsome face, even comparable to a celebrity's, glanced at my school uniform. The teacher explained our situation. Donald waved his hand. "I'll take full responsibility for the repair costs, but let me take this classmate to the exam hall." "Your car is in pretty bad shape." The teacher still wanted to refuse, but found that the car wouldn't start no matter what, and I squeezed her hand. "Teacher, please stay behind to deal with the tow truck. Keep in touch with the other teacher. If I don't enter the examination hall on time, call the police. I've taken a picture of the license plate number." Donald let out a light scoff, a hint of a smile in his eyes, as he opened the car door for me. Along the way, he showed off his driving skills with one hand, glancing at me from time to time. I knew that, with my plain appearance wearing a school uniform and glasses, not enough to attract Donald. After parking the car at the school gate, Donald struck a pose he thought was charming. "Today, my yacht is having a party with fireworks. You can come with me. You think this little exam is a big deal, even if you get into Tsinghua or Peking University. Your annual salary might not even match my monthly allowance. You're the first person I've met that I wanted to see again right away. Come with me, let's go straight to the yacht." I opened the car door expressionlessly and was about to leave. The system quickly spoke up. "What a great opportunity, a night of passion on the cruise ship, and you could be pregnant with his child by tonight. Hurry up and agree. If you don't, I'll shock you." I frowned tightly. "I'll consider your task. But if you make me fail the exam, I'll just crash to my death." The system beeped and stopped talking. For a teenage girl with an immature mind, what Donald said was such a huge temptation. I slammed his car door shut. "Once you're done talking, just go. I don't have time." Then he walked straight toward the exam hall, until I went upstairs and looked back to find Donald still standing by the car, looking over at me with great interest. He caught the attention of many people, handsome and tall. As if he stepped out of an idle drama, I didn't look again. Before entering the classroom, the system started complaining again. "I'm quite famous in our system world. I've arranged for you to meet someone young and handsome. What's there to be dissatisfied with? Isn't it great to start a sweet, wealthy life? The audience wants to see this. Who wants to watch you take a boring exam? Work, work, shut up." I calmly looked at the densely packed words in the air. "Not bad. I've been able to see these since the moment I was reborn." Some of them said, Look, the female lead has bound with the rich family childbirth system. It's a pity the female lead isn't pure. She first had a relationship with the second male lead, Donald, at 18 and later gave birth to 10 children over 8 years, after the second male lead cheated. She met the male lead and then had a litter of kids with him. What does pure or not matter? This is an old-school romance novel. As long as the baby is happy and the plot is light-hearted, it's fine. Later, the second male lead chased after her and negotiated with the male lead to share the baby, building a castle for the female lead where they laughed and played every day. I just treat them like the system. I ignore them. I never cared about them. Even now, what they're posting is. It feels like my baby has become a different person. The exams are so exhausting. They've worn out our precious one's eyes, but she's really charming now. She actually didn't give up the exams to go on a cruise with the second male lead. I'm a bit confused by the plot now. I ignored all of them. My life should be decided by me alone. I wonder if Madison saw these bullet comments in her previous life, constantly giving birth, receiving their doting affection. Is this the life I must lead? The college entrance exam finally ended amidst a sea of chongsams and sunflowers. I let out a long sigh of relief, even catching the rich scent of flowers in the air. It turned out that Donald had covered the entire car hood with roses, just like a wedding car. He handed me a bouquet of flowers with deep affection, sparking cheers from the crowd, and in the crowd, I saw Madison. Her eyes held surprise and a hint of jealousy, because in the previous life, she had been with Donald last night. And this scene never happened, but soon, she covered her mouth and laughed. Look, with the system you're bound to, you're destined to marry into a wealthy family. I'm looking forward to seeing you become his plaything. No, woman, go on, agree to young Master Donald. Madison pushed me hard toward Donald. I barely steadied myself and, following her intention, took the flowers from Donald, but I stared into Donald's eyes, word by word. If this flower is meant to wish me good results, I'll accept it, but I have a lot to do right after the college entrance exams. If you like me, wait until I'm in university to find me. Donald didn't expect me to be so straightforward, but he didn't seem embarrassed. Which university are you planning to attend? Before I could answer, Madison suddenly tugged at our parents. She put on a pitiful expression. Sis, our family can't afford to support 2 college students. Didn't we agree back then? Whoever gets the higher score gets to go to college. Your parents won't support you for college. Just agree to date young Master Donald. You'll definitely be happy. Mom and Dad nodded in agreement. Yes, you always mess up your college entrance exams. Your score definitely won't be as high as Madison's. Maybe you shouldn't go to college. An ordinary college degree isn't very useful anyway. I saw the struggle of lying in my father's eyes and just said calmly, I never said that. Besides, if you don't want to pay, you don't have to. I'll figure it out myself. Madison was left speechless. I had already walked away. Donald asked me again which school I wanted to attend, Agricultural University. On the day the scores were released, Madison was already waiting in front of the computer. Before logging into the system, she held her head high. Nancy, this time I'm finally going to outdo you. I've never been as good as you in school since we were kids. She still doesn't know what other costs the system will bring in the future. I calmly checked my scores. They were about the same as in my previous life. However, Madison's test scores were kept confidential. My parents excitedly high-fived and cheered with Madison. My dad glanced at me and cleared his throat twice. You did pretty well too. Over 600. Which school are you thinking of attending? Madison quickly exclaimed. Dad, didn't I tell you, my sister doesn't need to go to college? Dad immediately changed the subject. That Donald has great qualities. You should give him a chance. I smiled sarcastically, secretly hid all my documents and walked out of the house. I brought nothing with me. I went to the city where the Agricultural University, where I was about to apply, is located. The only difference between this life and the last is that I didn't study finance, but chose to study agriculture instead, because I've already figured out how to make use of my system. Achieve my brilliant life. I opened the stock market, watching the money in my account multiply. I repaid the money I borrowed from my classmates, then a few more were added. The system, which had been silent for a long time, finally reminded, Nancy, I've given you a lot of face. You took the college entrance exam, and the results are out. If you don't do the task now, I really will electrocute you. At worst, we'll both suffer. I'll eliminate you, my level will drop, and I'll just find someone else. A surge of electric current hit me, and the pain nearly made my legs buckle. Cold sweat instantly broke out on my forehead. The system sounded a bit smug. This is actually with reduced pain sensitivity. just to show you I'm not joking, I wiped off the sweat. I didn't say I wouldn't do it. You just want me to marry into a wealthy family and have children, right? Is there a quantity requirement? The system spoke. The more, the better. It's all energy. It can't be fewer than 10, all right. Does it count as long as children are born, whether it's me or my offspring? The system replied urgently. Yes. Then it reacted again. It must be you, returning your things. What kind of child can you give birth to, anyway? I want to have children. The more I give birth, the more energy I have. I understood clearly. Just you wait. After I officially started school, Donald is up to his tricks again, either confessing at the school gate or sending flowers under the dormitory building. I couldn't take it anymore and got into his car. The wind howled past, and sure enough, he took me to that cruise ship we were supposed to board on the night of the college entrance exam, luxurious and exquisite. The red wine in the goblet sways with romance and flamboyance, but I pulled Donald onto the deck and stared at him for a long time, until he became a bit embarrassed. Finally, I asked him, "Do you think you're very charming, from the moment we first met? You asked me to abandon the most important exam of my life to go for a drive with you. You didn't consider my future or my dreams at all. Do you think truly liking someone means not caring about them in the slightest?" He dismissed it. I really thought it was just a small exam, but for me, it was the defining moment of over a decade of education, my future, and my ambitions. I'm just different from the girls you usually meet, which sparked your curiosity. I'm ordinary, plain, my school uniform is even washed to the point of fading, and I've rejected you several times, which only fueled your desire to challenge yourself. He seemed about to respond. No, I cut him off and continued. You didn't even take the college entrance exam, spent a few years messing around abroad with money, and now that you're back, your own family's company won't even let you in. They just indulge you in playing around. Do you know what it means to spoil someone to their ruin? Do you think your brother's doting on you, constantly giving you money, is love? The Smith family is so big, yet only your brother and your father are called President Song. What about you, young Master Donald? Donald did not laugh. A flicker of doubt and shock finally appeared in his eyes. No one had ever told him this before. The Song family only wanted him to live carefree, spending extravagantly as a playboy. I glanced at the sea level and took a sip of the water I brought with me. Do you know Maslow's pyramid? The top level is self-actualization. You have everything now, money, women. But don't you often feel like life seems meaningless? You can only rely on constant parties, extravagance, and seeking thrills. Because you haven't achieved self-actualization, you could say you're worthless. In my previous life, I studied both psychology and law because I was a top student. His eyes widened slightly, his body tensed up. He wanted to retort but seemed unable to say anything. Then, he suddenly pinned me down on the deck, smirking mischievously. Nancy, saying all this just proves how special you are, doesn't it? That only makes me want to sleep with you even more. I didn't resist at all and looked straight into his eyes. Yet he paused. I stood up and reached out my hand. Cooperate with me, and I will help you achieve self-actualization, make the Song family and everyone else look at you with new respect. He hesitantly offered his hand, and I shook it. The next moment, he cursed at the sea. Damn it, are you stupid from studying too much? I can't believe I was fooled by you. I smiled and said, 5 years, in 5 years. I'll make everyone call you President Song. No one will ever think of you as just a playboy again. He kicked the deck. If you can't do it, I'll sleep with you hard. In the second semester of my freshman year, I signed a contract with Donald, completed the task of marrying into a wealthy family. The system was jumping up and down in my mind. You actually pulled a pun on me, and I can't even refute it. I've even judged you as successful. In my sophomore year, I registered an agricultural technology company and a livestock farming company, assigned Donald to the outskirts, leased a 1,000-acre farm, built a pig farm and a chicken farm on a small hill. When I was extremely busy, Madison came to the school to see me. She found out that I was already dating Donald, and her eyes locked tightly on my stomach. You're not pregnant yet. I looked at her and spoke in confusion. I'm still in college. Why would I be pregnant? She murmured. How could this be? I'm going to have triplets. I pretended not to hear, and she sneered. Could it be that Donald hasn't touched you? Ha ha ha. Well, look at how dark you are now. So ugly. I study agriculture and run around outside every day. Isn't it normal to be dark? She got into a prestigious school, but lost a lot of hair, even with a headband on. Her scalp was visible. Nancy. I was the top scorer in the college entrance exam at our school. 2 universities were fighting over me. It's a shame you missed that scene. A classmate called me to eat and pulled me along. They asked, "Is that really your sister?" Ah, her eyes looked so scary. Are elite university students really like this? They seem mentally unstable, saying such things to your own younger sister, under the electric shock from the system. No one could endure it. My system is also urging me, "Why aren't you two sharing a room yet? Don't think you can fool me with a pun and get away with it. You're separated every day. What exactly are you trying to do? Hurry up and share a room already." The viewers are about to complain. I glanced at the urging comments in the barrage. "I've already taken my pants off, and you're showing me this." Still ignoring it. "Aren't there still plenty of people in the barrage? Don't rush, it's almost there." Donald's face darkened a lot as he drove the pickup truck, taking me to the farm, muttering, "I don't know what you're trying to do. My brother won't let me start a business. He says he's not afraid of rich kids squandering money, but he's afraid of rich kids starting businesses. He says I don't have the intelligence for it," which really pissed me off. This money was borrowed from my buddies, and I even asked my grandparents for some. I look at the name of the farm, ND Farm. "Donald, I told you to just use your allowance and the money I gave you to do what you can afford. We can expand slowly. But you insisted on starting with such a large place. Too small would be beneath my status." "Alright, but we'll still split the profits according to the contract. Don't worry, I won't let you lose out." I went to the pig farm and the chicken farm first. I specifically planted many tall fruit trees at the chicken farm, so they complement each other. When we went to the pig pen, Donald pinched his nose and wanted to refuse. I grabbed his hand firmly. How could he not go? We arrived at the pigsty I had carefully selected. I called out to the system, "Come out quickly, I'm with Donald. Release that multifetal pill and the worry-free production you mentioned, and also the postpartum recovery. Give it a try. I declare that all these pigs, chickens, ducks, all the livestock, and all the fruit trees are my children." I held Donald's hand and placed it together on the sow. Not even having time to notice his reddened ears, the system let out an excited scream. This actually worked. I've become an alternative wealthy family childbirth system. Woo woo woo. The task of 10 children is just like that completed. My system level is still rising. "Nancy, keep going." I then took Donald to the chicken farm and had him touch the hen. Time passed quickly. In my junior year, Donald and I had a farm. The sow gave birth to 50 piglets in one litter and still had a great appetite after delivery. Our hens had a higher egg production rate than all other chicken farms. I also developed a custom service for 3 yolk, 4 yolk, and 5 yolk eggs, eagerly ordered by the wealthy. The system had already become an advanced system in their interface after the sow gave birth. All the various fertility-enhancing pills that come with the childbirth system have been distributed by me to the livestock industry. Moreover, there are also post-birth recovery pills that restore everything to its original state, significantly boosting my livestock industry. I rarely get sick. The system no longer poses a threat to me. I also used my agricultural knowledge and the system's reproduction function to multiply the per acre yield of fruits and grains on the farm several times over. I followed the path of my previous life and also started a live stream of the farm. It became a hit both domestically and internationally. Overall, it was a huge success. By the time I graduated from university, I had become a livestock tycoon, agricultural tycoon, using financial knowledge from a previous life. Our ND agriculture is ready to go public. Donald has truly become President Donald, dressed in a suit and tie discussing business, expanding the production scale. Everyone holds him in high esteem, and no one calls him a reckless second-generation heir anymore. Moreover, agriculture and animal husbandry are different from other businesses. No matter who you are, everyone has to eat, right? We are working for the well-being of humanity. The self-fulfillment this brings is far more admirable than earning more money. The Research Institute has also hired me as a consultant to study certain challenges in food crops, so that we no longer need to import from abroad. The Song family even publicly announced that they would form a strategic partnership with ND Agriculture. Donald's brother and father looked at him differently. When my mother came to see me, she was stopped at the door by my secretary. Donald first rolled his eyes at her. In the end, nothing harsh was said. She seemed to have aged a lot. I looked behind but didn't see Madison. I've been too busy these past few years, and I haven't even looked at the curses she occasionally sends me. I've long since changed my private number. I never expected my mom to suddenly kneel in front of me. "Please go see your dad. It's my fault. I shouldn't have refused to pay your college tuition, and I shouldn't have encouraged your dad to favor your sister, but he is your biological father. Please save him. He's terminally ill. Go back and see him one last time. You've cut off contact all these years and never returned our calls, so I had to come find you. I ended up going back after all. He gave me life, and I saw him off. He is forever connected to me by blood. I haven't returned to City A since I started college, but after stepping through the door, I suddenly felt a sense of foreboding. Who is that on the bed? It's Madison. Her hair is sparse, her eyes sunken, nothing like someone in their 20s. Seeing me approach, a look of triumph flashes in her eyes. I knew it. I could definitely trick her into coming back. My father was standing by with his head lowered, this time. He had probably spent a lifetime bowing his head in front of Madison and her mother. He didn't dare to look at me, yet his eyes were full of pity when facing Madison. Madison screamed at me frantically, Why, even with a second chance, I still can't compare to you. You were supposed to marry Donald, keep having children, endure constant torment and disdain from your wealthy mother-in-law, possess jewelry but receive no love at all, while Donald continues to fool around outside. Mom shouted Dad's name, hurry and tie Nancy up, do as Madison says, and only then will Madison get better. Madison's legs were so thin they looked like nothing but bones as she sneered and walked toward me. Her whole body was unsteady. No wonder you haven't come looking for me these past few years. Tie her up. I want to see why her system isn't tormenting her, while mine has been tormenting me, back when I was bound. Why was I forced to have children? I'm going to kill you. And we'll start over. I looked at my father with disappointment. You lied to me to get me home for her sake. That's it for us as father and daughter. With that, Donald rushed in with his bodyguards. How could I be completely unprepared? Madison used to love bouncing around in front of me the most. That's when I found out that Madison had dropped out of school a year ago. She thought that with such an impressive college entrance exam score, she could easily graduate and then get extra points for graduate school entrance exams, or gain extra points in major exams to reach the peak of her life. But what's the use of extra points if knowledge doesn't get into your head? You also have to endure electric shocks. The more points you add, the stronger the shocks. Electric shocks used to be for interrogating prisoners. No one can withstand long-term electric shocks. It's said that Madison's roommate once saw Madison convulsing, foaming at the mouth, and urinating all over the floor, and was terrified. An ambulance was called and she was taken away. The school couldn't bear the responsibility either and suggested she rest, but Madison muttered, I'm not sick, I still have to take the exam, I want to earn $1 million a year. After another half year of turmoil, Madison looked haggard, forced by my parents to take a leave of absence and brought back home. She frantically refused. If I go back, without major exams, I'll be in agony. In the end, my parents had no choice but to send her to a mental health facility for treatment. Seeing me being shielded by Donald, Madison's resentment grew stronger as she pointed at Donald. In my previous life, I loved you with all my heart and kept bearing children for you, yet you fooled around outside and even brought those tricks back to use on me in bed. Why aren't you doing the same to Nancy now? Donald looked as if he had seen a ghost, waving his hands repeatedly. What nonsense are you spouting? Do I even know you? Madison laughed hysterically, suddenly pulling a knife from the bed and charging at me. I want you dead. Once you're gone, we can reset the system, we'll start over, and I'll definitely have a good life. The knife was knocked away by the bodyguard, and Madison was restrained, struggling incessantly. I looked at her, puzzled. Is the system really that good? Is it absolutely necessary to bind? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have gone down that path, nor would I have bound to any system. Madison's eyes widened abruptly. So you came back too? You deliberately set me up. You already knew about the system's punishment. My tone was cold and detached, leaning close to her ear. In my previous life, I never used the system to add points. Once you start adding points, enjoying the high scores comes at a cost. Having only scores without knowledge will quickly be exposed. So in my previous life, I never wanted any extra points. I'd rather do poorly on the college entrance exam. At least I wouldn't be controlled by it. If I hadn't studied desperately and found a loophole, I would have suffered too. There's no such thing as a free lunch. The Aladdin's lamp is actually the embodiment of a demon. I had the bodyguard send Madison to a mental institution to be locked up. Turning around, I said to my parents, who were crying together, I was just playing along with her act earlier. Her mind has already become this abnormal. Do you really believe there's some kind of system, and you're helping her trick me into coming back to harm me? That's utter nonsense. Never bring her back. If a mentally ill person harms others, it becomes a disaster for the entire society. The achievements in both my lives were the result of my careful planning and hard work. Madison would never understand that only what you earn with your own hands can be used with peace of mind. Academic excellence plus a wealthy family is the ultimate winning hand. Under my influence, Donald has corrected many of his bad habits. When he proposed to me, I didn't say yes. Donald's parents even offered that the bride price would only be 10% of the Smith family's shares, but aside from Donald's good looks, the first impression was really bad. Who knows when his old playboy tendencies might suddenly resurface. Besides, I'm very busy. I'm busy taking advantage of the system while it's still here, joining the research team to study endangered plants and animals. Sometimes I go to the Antarctic, sometimes to the Arctic, and sometimes even to the deep, remote forests. I even saw the endangered phoenix bird, the moment she soared into the sky. Her brilliantly colorful tail feathers outshone even the sun. I think I must have reached the top of Maslow's pyramid. I will also achieve my own self-realization. I used to hate the system binding me, but now I am actually making use of it. But the system is very happy. Its attitude is much better than before. It has learned a phrase I often say, open up your thinking. A long time later, Madison took her own life, leaving a suicide note in the psychiatric hospital. I want to start over. This time, my sister and I happily walked home together after school. On the way, we saw 2 coins, but neither of us picked them up. We just kicked them away. On the eve of the college entrance exam, we studied hard and kept doing practice problems. Though exhausting, it was fulfilling. In the height of summer, with cicadas chirping, both my sister and I achieved excellent results, and were admitted to our ideal universities. But after her death, the sun rose and set, and the world remained unchanged. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My sister married into a wealthy family and gave birth to 9 children in 10 years, yet her body remains as youthful as a girl's. She has been hailed by netizens as the most beautiful wealthy wife. Meanwhile, after 10 years of marriage without children, I have developed countless stretch marks, separated pubic bones, and suffer from urinary incontinence whenever I jump. I suspect my sister has transferred all the childbirth damage to me. I hadn't had time to uncover the truth. When my sister gave birth to her last child, I died at home from massive bleeding. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the time when my sister was 2 months pregnant with her first child. After a moment of daze, I heard my husband Dante on the phone. The coquettish voice of my sister Georgia came through. Brother-in-law, I'm 2 months pregnant. And lately I've been really craving the sweet and sour pork ribs you make. Dante replied affectionately, sure, I'll pick you up this weekend and bring you home for a meal. Hearing the words, sweet and sour pork ribs, an image of a greasy plate of pork flashed through my mind. A wave of dizziness and nausea washed over me. I couldn't help but retch. Ugh, a sour, foul liquid burned my throat, and I forced myself to swallow it back down. My heart sank. This was morning sickness. I've experienced this nausea 9 times in my past life. I can't be wrong. It seems that even after being reborn, I'm still enduring the discomfort of pregnancy on behalf of Georgia. Dante looked at me with dissatisfaction. What are you doing? Every time I call Georgia, you start making strange noises. Georgia said with a pitiful look, brother-in-law, is my sister unhappy that you're cooking for me? Then forget it. I can bear it. I don't want to make my sister angry. Dante was displeased. Don't mind her, she's just jealous, even of her own sister. I'll pick you up next weekend. It's settled. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him anymore. In my previous life, Dante would always vomit at the sight of me, accusing me of cheating and carrying another man's child. After all, he had been on long business trips, and we hadn't been intimate for a long time. It wasn't until I used a pregnancy test that he believed I wasn't pregnant. By the time Georgia was 7 months pregnant, my belly had grown too large to hide. Purplish red streaks have appeared on my thighs and belly, and my neck has also turned dark. Dante angrily questioned me again, demanding to know who the adulterer was. I could only kneel before him and swear that I had not been unfaithful. In the end, he dragged me to the hospital for a checkup before reluctantly believing me. Later, I inexplicably developed diabetes, pubic symphysis separation, uterine prolapse, and other issues. My body became like a broken ragdoll. Dante didn't even bother to look at me. Meanwhile, Georgia gave birth to a child every year, yet her body showed not the slightest sign of damage, as if she were still a young girl. I started to have doubts, but after telling Dante, he didn't believe me at all. He even said I was sick and wanted to send me to a mental hospital. During those years, because I had pregnancy symptoms, I couldn't find a job and had to rely on Dante to support me. I didn't dare to resist him. On the day Georgia gave birth to her 9th child, I died at home from severe bleeding. Upon learning of my death, Georgia immediately declared that she would stop having children from then on. It was at this moment that I finally became certain that she had transferred all the discomforts of pregnancy and the damages of childbirth onto me, and she relied on having many children to secure her position in the wealthy family. She was even voted the most beautiful wealthy wife by netizens and managed to enter the entertainment industry to make money after giving birth to 9 children. I never expected that even after being reborn, I still couldn't escape Georgia's exploitation. Thinking of this, I was filled with rage. Stand up and slam your stomach hard against the corner of the table. Ouch! A sharp pain shot through my belly. I bent over, clutching my stomach. Dante glanced at me. You can even bump into a table while walking. Can you be any clumsier? Why did I marry you back then? If only I had married, how much better it would have been. His tone was vague. I had no time to pay attention, only pricking up my ears to listen to the phone call. Georgia's charming voice came through. What's wrong, brother-in-law? Did something happen to my sister? Dante replied impatiently. Don't worry about her. Georgia was completely fine, so this transfer is one-directional. Can only she pass it to me? On what grounds? I thought again. Maybe external force doesn't work, but internal harm does. I grabbed my car keys and went out, heading to the hospital to find an acquaintance to buy medication for a medical abortion. An hour after taking the medicine, I started vomiting and having diarrhea, with a piercing pain in my stomach. Sitting slumped in the hospital restroom stall, unable to stand up, I pulled out my phone with anticipation and video called Georgia. The video call connects. Georgia was wearing silk pajamas, leisurely doing her skincare routine. Her face was glowing, a smile at the corner of her lips, looking incredibly happy. Looking at myself, my face was deathly pale, my hair soaked with sweat and plastered to my face, like a female ghost. Sister, what's wrong with you? I asked her through gritted teeth. Aren't you feeling any discomfort in your stomach? Georgia touched her belly and said with a smile, Not at all. My baby is very well behaved and doesn't cause any trouble. I haven't even had morning sickness. Sister, you must take good care of yourself. I can't do without you. Georgia said a few sarcastic words of concern to me. I suppressed the urge to smash my phone and hung up the video call fiercely. How on earth did she manage to shift the harm of the pregnancy entirely onto me? If I can't find a way to break this situation, am I really going to repeat the tragic experiences of my past life and become a stepping stone to Georgia's happy life? Even if I slip her an abortion pill, she can still get pregnant again. I can't possibly keep drugging her for a lifetime or just kill her, can I? I refuse to believe that killing or suicide is the only way out of this situation. I came home in a mess. Dante frowned at me, his tone full of disdain. What have you been doing? You look so awful, I shouted angrily. Can't you see I'm not feeling well? You know how to care about Georgia, but not me. Whose husband are you, anyway? I rarely speak to Dante so harshly. He was stunned for a moment, then retorted with righteous indignation. Don't be unreasonable. She's your sister. What's wrong with me caring about her? Besides, she married into a wealthy family. Instead of trying to win her favor, you're still competing with her for attention. How did I end up marrying such an idiot? Dante and I argued for a long time and ended up parting on bad terms. Even though I hadn't eaten all day, my stomach was still uncomfortably full, and I had no appetite at all. Exhausted, I went to take a shower, planning to go to bed early. In the night, the space beside me slightly sank. A large hand touched my chest. Darling, let's have a child. That way, you'll feel more secure. I groaned in pain, since Georgia got pregnant. My chest has been constantly sore and swollen. I pushed Dante away abruptly. He was upset. I've come to make peace with you. How can you be so ungrateful? I suddenly feel unusually irritable. With Georgia around, I'll never be able to get pregnant and have children in this lifetime. In my previous life, I tried to conceive for 10 years after marriage but never succeeded. Even medical checkups couldn't identify any issues. The only explanation is that it was caused by Georgia. Dante's face darkened. What nonsense are you talking? What does it have to do with Georgia? Holding on to my last shred of hope, I told him about this unbelievable incident. Georgia has placed a curse on me. The injuries from her pregnancy and childbirth will be transferred to me, which is why I've been feeling nauseous and vomiting lately. She will give birth to 9 children in the next 10 years, and I won't be able to get pregnant at all during this decade. Honey, please help me. I don't want to suffer for another 10 years and eventually die from massive bleeding. After hearing this, Dante showed no trace of pity for me in his eyes. Instead, He looked at me as if I were a monster. Do you have some kind of mental illness? Georgia is your own sister. Is it really necessary to slander her like that? You sleep by yourself. I'm going to sleep in the study. Don't have an episode in the middle of the night and try to hurt me. After saying that, he walked out of the bedroom and slammed the door. I lay on the quilt, crying uncontrollably. Over the next few months, I desperately searched for a solution. I sought help from Taoist priests, Buddhist monks, witches, and more, but I still couldn't stop gaining weight day by day. After the morning sickness disappeared, it was followed by a surge in appetite, and I would feel hungry even after eating 5 or 6 meals a day. The sweet, rich pastries I used to avoid are now kept by my bedside, ready to be eaten at any moment. I had to switch to loose-fitting clothes to hide my protruding belly. My colleagues gossiped about me behind my back, and the company leadership also called me in for a talk. Between the lines, it was hinted that if I were pregnant, I should resign quickly, as the company doesn't support idle employees. I insisted that I wasn't pregnant. I can't repeat the mistakes of my past life by giving up my job and letting Dante control me. After leaving the leader's office, I overheard HR and a colleague chatting casually in the break room, that Lucy, when she hired her, she told me she had no plans to get pregnant within 2 years. It's only been a few months, and her belly is already showing. I got scolded by the boss because of it. What bad luck. Look at how ugly she's become. Her nose has gotten so big. She must be having a boy, right? And she still refuses to admit it. Let's see how she'll manage to work when it's time to give birth. I couldn't argue back, so I just swallowed my tears. After work, I went home and saw that Georgia had been invited by Dante to have dinner at his place again. The dining table is filled with a variety of dishes. Georgia holds her chopsticks, pouting. Oh dear, brother-in-law, you served me so much rice. How can I possibly finish it all? Dante smiles gently. Eat more, you're now eating for 2. Georgia waved at me. Sis, you're back, come on. My brother-in-law specially made a seafood feast. Don't be shy, join us and eat. The tone was such that anyone who didn't know better would think this was her home and she was the hostess. Seeing me return, Dante immediately put away his smile. She's already so fat, what else is she eating? Georgia is still so beautiful even while pregnant. I really don't understand how sisters from the same mother can be so different from you. Last time, she even said something about you cursing her, making her bear the damage of pregnancy for you. It's just insane. My heart skipped a beat. How did Dante say that? Georgia giggled, covering her mouth. Oh my, brother-in-law, don't say that. I really have to thank my sister. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have gotten pregnant so easily. The provocation in her eyes was unmistakable. His face was full of malice. Only after getting pregnant did I realize how easy it is to have a baby. I'm planning to have a whole soccer team. Dante curled his lips in disdain. Georgia, don't try to defend her. I really regret it now. Back then, the memory of bleeding to death in my previous life flashed through my mind. The anger I had suppressed for so long instantly shattered my already fragile sanity. I flipped the dining table over in one swift motion. No one gets to fucking eat. The dishes shattered all over the floor. Georgia exclaimed as she stood up and dodged away. I grabbed her by the collar and shook her desperately. What on earth have you done to me? Why is it me who gets pregnant and gains weight? And why is it me who dies from massive bleeding? Georgia struggled in panic. Sister, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Are you crazy? I grabbed a piece of the broken plate and pressed it against her neck. If you don't tell the truth, I'll kill you. The shard was about to pierce Georgia's skin, and I was about to press harder when someone suddenly kicked me away. Dante mercilessly kicked me into the pile of shattered porcelain fragments on the floor. My arms and legs were instantly covered in bloody scratches, and the pain made me break out in a cold sweat all over. You lunatic. If you hurt Georgia, I'll make you pay. Georgia held her stomach and whimpered pitifully. Brother-in-law, my stomach hurts. Is something wrong with the baby? I'm so scared. Don't be afraid. I'll take you to the hospital for a checkup. Dante carefully helped her step over the scattered pieces of broken porcelain on the floor. I'm taking Georgia to the hospital. You stay home and reflect on your actions. Clean up the mess you made. If the house is still like this when I get back, don't blame me for divorcing you. With a loud bang, Dante slammed the door shut. I struggled to get up from the floor and went to the bedroom to find the first aid kit to clean my wounds. Sitting at the table, I applied iodine to my arm. The sting of the skin is not even a fraction of the pain in the heart. Tears involuntarily fall. In my past life, I thought I had a strange illness that caused me to be unable to have a child for so long. So I was filled with guilt towards Dante and kept making concessions. But it turns out it wasn't my fault at all. I don't want to endure it anymore in this lifetime. Not only do I want to find the truth, but I also want to divorce Dante. A sweet fragrance drifted over. It was the chocolate lava cake I left on the table. I instinctively picked it up and was about to put it in my mouth to soothe my pain. Unexpectedly, the next moment, the sticky cake melted in my mouth, and the taste was so sweet it turned bitter. I froze. What's going on? After the morning sickness ended, this cake became my favorite, and I never found it too sweet even after eating 3 or 4 at a time. But now, my body seems to have returned to the time before I endured the pain of pregnancy for Georgia. Just now, a scene I had overlooked flashed through my mind. Suddenly, it dawned on me. I stood up excitedly. I've figured out what's going on with all of this. Just to be safe, I need to verify it again. After tidying up the house, I called Dante. I've made a new meal. Bring your sister back to eat. I was wrong earlier. Dante snorted coldly. Scared now that you're talking about divorce. Good thing Georgia is fine, or else even if you begged on your knees, I wouldn't forgive you. I held back my temper and coaxed him gently. After hanging up, I ordered some takeout and arranged it on plates. When those two came back, Georgia was holding her waist, puffing out her flat stomach, and giving me a triumphant smile. Brother-in-law said you were wrong. That's more like it. We're sisters, after all. There's no need to be jealous. As long as I can give birth smoothly, my sister will be happy too, right? I forced a fake smile and placed a piece of sweet and sour pork rib on Georgia's plate. Let's eat first. You all must be hungry too. After taking on Georgia's pregnancy discomforts, my taste preferences have changed dramatically. I particularly dislike pork, and anything sour makes me nauseous and causes me to vomit, so if I'm not mistaken, Georgia would probably gag just from taking a bite of sweet and sour pork ribs now. I watched Georgia nervously, waiting for verification, yet, she hesitated to pick up her chopsticks, a look of uncertainty on her face. Dante suddenly spoke up. Georgia, why aren't you eating? Isn't sweet and sour pork ribs your favorite? Georgia hesitated, then picked up a piece of sweet and sour pork rib and put it in her mouth. The next second, she instantly retched. Ugh, sure enough. The discomfort of pregnancy had now returned to Georgia herself. I was so excited that my whole body trembled. In this second life, I have finally taken the first step to break the deadlock. Georgia slammed her chopsticks onto the plate with a smack, splattering soup all over me. What did you do to me? Why do I feel nauseous and sick? I widened my eyes innocently. I didn't do anything. Isn't it normal for pregnant women to feel nauseous sometimes? Georgia said urgently. Impossible. I clearly transferred. Halfway through her sentence, she stopped as if she had bitten her tongue. She changed the subject. You must have put something in the food, brother-in-law. She wants to harm my child. Georgia held on to Dante's arm and accused me. Dante frowned at me with an unpleasant expression. I explained with grievance. I didn't put anything in it. Believe me, try it yourself. Dante picked up his chopsticks, ate 2 pieces of sweet and sour pork ribs, and his expression softened. It's been a while since I've had a meal cooked by you. Your skills have improved. He patted Georgia on the arm. Your sister is right. Isn't it normal for pregnant women to feel nauseous? Maybe your morning sickness is just coming a bit later. Georgia insisted. No, I need to go to the hospital for a checkup to feel at ease. Dante was getting a little impatient. We just got back from the hospital, and the doctor said you're perfectly healthy. Stop overthinking it. Georgia froze, clenched her fists, and glared at me with resentment. Her gaze swept over my hands, and only then did her face show a look of relief. I beamed brightly. She probably still thought I had put something in the food. My dear sister, your hard days are still ahead. That evening, I opened my phone and entered Georgia's live stream. Since marrying into a wealthy family, she has been flaunting her luxurious daily life online, gaining a number of followers. After becoming pregnant, she started streaming daily, showcasing her completely comfortable pregnancy life. This has helped sell a lot of products. However, the face that now appears on the screen clearly looks a bit fuller. Even filters can't hide her flushed cheeks. Her once proud slender waist has noticeably gained some weight. I touched my flat stomach that had returned to its original state and couldn't help but laugh. I typed a line on the screen. Master, why have you gained so much weight lately? Didn't you say you were blessed with an easy pregnancy? No morning sickness, no weight gain. How come you're just like any other pregnant woman now? Once I started this trend, other viewers also began to voice their doubts. Yeah, the host has gotten so much uglier. It's making me afraid to get pregnant. I bought prenatal supplements from you last month, claiming they help the baby grow without making me gain weight. Now I feel like I've been scammed, refund my money, and lately, the host hasn't been doing the prenatal workout routines. Didn't you say it's important to exercise during pregnancy? Georgia's face turned red and then pale. She gained popularity for her live streams by vigorously doing aerobics while pregnant, claiming she was still as agile as ever. As the audience's skepticism grew louder, Georgia gritted her teeth. Then today, I'll continue leading everyone in aerobics. Sisters who want to avoid gaining weight during pregnancy, follow along quickly. She left the camera to change into her workout clothes. When she came back, Georgia was wearing yoga pants on the bottom and a crop top that showed her midriff. She adjusted the camera and stood a bit farther away, ready to start dancing. The viewers in the live stream were shocked. Are those stretch marks on her stomach? So gross. Why doesn't she cover them up? What are you talking about upstairs? These are mom's medals. Who doesn't get stretch marks during pregnancy? But didn't she claim she wouldn't gain weight or get stretch marks, and even called herself the most beautiful pregnant mom? But the streamer really doesn't seem to have gained weight. Then why does she have so many stretch marks? LOL. Take a look at the wall behind her. She must have maxed out the waist slimming filter, right? Georgia is convinced that I have taken on the childbirth injuries for her. For the past month, she hasn't even taken a good look at her own body and doesn't even know she has stretch marks on her stomach. I sneered inwardly. In my previous life, I started experiencing urinary incontinence during the second trimester of Georgia's pregnancy, to the point where I had to clench my legs even when coughing. So, what effect would doing aerobics have? I'm really looking forward to it. Georgia turned on the music and got ready to dance. After just a few moves, an unnatural expression appeared on her face, and she instinctively covered her stomach. But the number of viewers in the live stream was still increasing, and she was in a dilemma. After a big leap, Georgia knelt on the ground with a pained expression. An unknown liquid dripped onto the floor. She frantically tried to cover it with her hand. But the netizens' eyes were sharp enough. Damn, what kind of performance is this streamer putting on? So vulgar. Can you even do it? If you can't dance, don't force it. So gross. I was just thinking about dancing along with the streamer. Good thing I didn't push myself. Did the streamer just have a leak? The phone screen went black, and Georgia's live stream automatically ended. I lay on the bed clutching my stomach, laughing until tears filled my eyes. At the company's annual party in my previous life, I brought Dante along, and Georgia also came to join the fun. During the prize draw, I went on stage to receive the award. Standing on the stage, I accidentally coughed a few times and felt a sudden dampness. I tried my best to hold it in, but I still ended up humiliated. Georgia laughed the loudest. Brother-in-law, look quickly. Sister couldn't hold it and peed on the stage. Ha ha ha. Everyone turned to look at me, whispering, mocking, and pointing. Dante took Georgia's hand and turned to leave. How embarrassing. I can't believe I married such a woman who can't even hold her urine. My vision went black, and I fainted on the stage. After waking up, the company leadership directly advised me to resign. They said that many clients were present at the annual meeting that day. My actions have severely damaged the company's image. If I don't resign voluntarily, the company will sue me for maliciously damaging its reputation. I lost my job, my health, and ultimately even my life. Meanwhile, Georgia gained a lot of followers by live streaming her pregnancy workouts, not only making a fortune but also earning the title of the most beautiful wealthy wife. Now Georgia has only lost face, but that's not enough. The follow-up plan is slowly taking shape in my mind. The news of pregnant woman pees live on stream to attract attention immediately went viral. Georgia's live stream was banned. Her wealthy in-laws gave her a stern scolding, strictly forbidding her from going out and embarrassing them. Just a few days later, Georgia showed up at my house looking utterly haggard. As soon as I opened the door, she rushed over and grabbed me by the neck. What on earth did you do to me? It should have been you who wet yourself. Now I'm the one everyone despises because of you. I pushed Georgia away, opened my palm and turned it over twice in front of my eyes, curled my lips into a smile. What do you think? Georgia looked terrified. When did you find out? Dante heard the voice and came out of the study, and Georgia threw herself into his arms. Brother-in-law, my sister cursed me. That's why I got fat and ugly and made a fool of myself during the live stream. She lifted her face, covered in tears, combined with her pregnancy-swollen face and reddened skin. It was quite off-putting. Dante hadn't seen Georgia for a while, and he was quite startled to see her in this state. However, he was so used to doting on Georgia that he still frowned and looked at me. What happened? Did you deliberately harm Georgia? Since I started thinking about divorce, I no longer felt hurt by Dante's favoritism. I raised an eyebrow. You called me crazy when I said Georgia cursed me, but now that she says I cursed her, you believe it. Isn't it normal for pregnant women to gain weight and look less attractive? You can call your mom and ask if she had urinary incontinence when she was pregnant with you. How can you even connect that to a curse? Are you two out of your minds? Since my body returned to normal, Dante has been treating me much better. Neither of us brought up the topic of divorce again, but I haven't forgiven him. I just think that being a widow might suit me better than being divorced. Upon hearing this, Dante looked somewhat awkward. He lowered his head and said to Georgia, "Your sister is right, pregnancy is supposed to be tough, so don't make a fuss." Georgia glared at me fiercely. I smiled and said, "Then tell me, how did I curse you?" She hesitated to speak. After a long while, Georgia stomped her feet and coquettishly turned to Dante. "Brother-in-law, I want to eat the food you make." Dante replied coldly, "I think you should eat less." I watched the two of them with a cold gaze. A few days ago, I overheard them on the phone and only then realized that these two had gotten together while Dante and I were still in a relationship. While they verbally repented, they secretly enjoyed the thrill of their immoral affair. I was foolish, kept in the dark all along. I just don't know why, but Dante ended up choosing to marry me. That's why Georgia married into a wealthy family out of spite. Oh, I forgot to mention. Georgia's wealthy husband is already over 50 years old. He is unattractive and promiscuous, with a large number of illegitimate children outside. No family of equal social standing is willing to marry their daughter to him. Fortunately, Georgia is young and beautiful, capturing the heart of the wealthy old man and successfully marrying into the family. This is probably why Georgia transferred the postpartum complications to me. She needs to maintain her beauty to win the favor of the wealthy old man, and she resents me for being able to marry Dante. However, a scumbag like Dante immediately changed his attitude when he saw that Georgia was no longer as beautiful. It seems I need to give Georgia a helping hand. After getting off work and returning home today, Dante ran up to me and asked, "Lucy, do you think I've gained weight recently? I feel like my stomach is so heavy." I looked him up and down and replied in a calm tone, "Maybe you've been eating too much lately." Dante looked exhausted, raising his hand to pat his chest. "Impossible, lately, the smell of food makes me uncomfortable. I only like eating things like bread and cake, and I've been eating much less than before. I can't sleep well either, and I always feel like someone is kicking me in the stomach." I watched with amusement as he raised his hand, revealing his waist, which was covered in purplish red streaks that looked quite menacing. His face was also covered with acne due to hormonal imbalance. It was hideously ugly. "Then you can't possibly be pregnant, can you?" Dante was displeased. "What nonsense are you talking? I'm a man." His expression changed. "Who are you texting? Why is the profile picture a man, and you're sending such cute stickers to him?" I turned off the screen. "Don't be unreasonable. He's my colleague, and he's well connected. I have to please him. You can't help, and you're still here being jealous. How could I marry such a fool?" I'm giving back the exact words he once said to me. "By the way, I ran into your colleagues while shopping last time. They asked me to remind you to eat less greasy food and drink less alcohol, saying your current appearance really affects the company's image. Instead of worrying about whether I might cheat, you should focus on managing your image and improving yourself." Dante flushed and left without a word. Not getting any comfort from me, he went to the living room to video call Georgia. The phone rang a few times and was then hung up. Dante muttered, "Why does no one answer my video calls lately? What's going on with everyone?" I smiled faintly. "Of course, it's because Georgia is afraid that Dante will find out she has completely returned to her pre-pregnancy state. There's no way to explain it. Last time Dante complained to Georgia about the changes in his body. Georgia avoided eye contact and stammered in her response. Think about it carefully, and it becomes clear. Georgia has already experienced the hardships of pregnancy, and now that she can transfer them to Dante, she couldn't be more eager. After all, I've seen through her tricks and won't let her manipulate me anymore. Matters of love and affection ultimately aren't as important as one's own comfort and well-being. After all, she plans to have 9 children. How could she manage without someone to share the burden of the harm? She wants to have many children to inherit the family fortune of the wealthy household, yet she also wants to maintain her youthful beauty to keep the affection of the wealthy old man, so she has no choice but to take extreme measures, harming others to benefit herself. I opened Georgia's account homepage. In her latest video, Georgia wrote that the previous live stream incident was due to her gaining weight and feeling unwell. She has now fully recovered and will be hosting a fitness dance live stream on her alternate account in 3 days. At that time, she will dance continuously for 2 hours, challenging the limits of a pregnant woman. 3 days passed quickly. A large number of netizens flooded into Georgia's live stream to watch the drama unfold. Is this the streamer who was rumored to have peed on live stream? She looks quite pretty. I heard the streamer is 8 months pregnant. Is that true? Her waist is so slim, even slimmer than mine, and I'm not pregnant. It's true. There's a prenatal checkup report on her profile. She really has a blessed pregnancy physique. So envious. Is the streamer doing aerobics to maintain her figure? I want to join in too. Most of the audience's comments were very friendly. After all, people tend to be more forgiving of beautiful things. Georgia was wearing yoga shorts and a tight crop top, revealing her smooth and slender waist and abdomen. No one could tell she was 8 months pregnant. She had a smile on her face as she was doing her warm-up exercises. I opened the bedroom door and took a look. Dante was slumped on the sofa playing with his phone and had fallen asleep. His bulky body was even snoring. He was completely unaware that hell was about to break loose. As Georgia began to leap wildly, a pained expression appeared on Dante's face, and cold sweat beaded on his forehead. Suddenly, he let out a loud cry and tumbled off the sofa onto the floor. Crash! I felt the whole house shake. Pushing the door open and stepping out, Dante saw me and reached out his hand. Lucy, I'm not feeling well. Help me up quickly. I clicked my tongue in annoyance. Every time I text a colleague, you start making strange noises. Such a jealous husband. I can even fall off the couch while sleeping. How stupid. Why did I marry such a fool? Back then, sigh. Dante clutched his stomach and groaned in pain. I get it. I was wrong. Please call ambulance. I'm in so much pain. It feels like my intestines are torn, and my stomach is full of hot water. It hurts so much. In the live stream, Georgia is still spinning and jumping with excitement. Every time she jumps and lands, Dante lets out a groan. I leisurely pick up my phone and dial ambulance. Can't let him die in this house. It would affect the property value. The ambulance took Dante to the hospital, and they worked on him for half the night. The doctor said it was unexplained abdominal bleeding. They drained 500 milliliters of blood from his abdomen, and he almost didn't make it. I feel a bit regretful. I called too early, but it's okay. It's time to tell him the truth. The next day, Dante woke up from the anesthesia. I walked into the ward, and his eyes lit up. Lucy, what illness do I actually have? I kept a straight face, looking serious. I have to tell you something unbelievable. Remember when I said Georgia cursed me and transferred all her pregnancy discomforts to me? I suspect she's transferred them to you now. That's why you're gaining weight, getting stretch marks, and your taste in food has changed. Dante was dumbfounded. Isn't this just a lie you two made up out of jealousy? How could it possibly be true? This is just too ridiculous. I took out my phone and opened the recording of Georgia's live stream from yesterday. You see, Georgia had clearly gained weight and become less attractive before, but now she's back to looking like a young girl, while you suddenly have pregnancy symptoms. Moreover, she's 8 months pregnant and did 2 hours of aerobics yesterday without any issues, yet you're suffering from severe abdominal pain and heavy bleeding. I'm not trying to stir up trouble between you. But when Georgia comes to the hospital to see you later, you can ask her yourself. After saying these words, I let Dante digest them slowly and left the hospital room. In the hallway, I called Georgia and told her that Dante was sick and wanted to see her. Naturally, Georgia was unwilling to come. I threatened her, if you don't come, I can't guarantee that Dante will still have that ring. Georgia reluctantly agreed. In the afternoon, Georgia came to the hospital wearing oversized clothes and a black mask. She entered the private ward and absent-mindedly showed concern for Dante. I was listening at the door when suddenly, a commotion erupted inside. What kind of dark magic did you use on me to turn me into this wretched state, while you remain as beautiful as ever? It was my sister, not me. With a crash, it sounded like Dante had smashed a cup. Back when Lucy wasn't pregnant but suddenly started feeling nauseous and vomiting, I saw it all. How dare you say it wasn't you? Wasn't it your curse? Now you're here to harm me again, and you're pushing the blame onto Lucy. How could I have been so blind back then, to have an affair with a venomous, heartless woman like you? You've destroyed the love between me and Lucy. Georgia's voice suddenly turned sharp. You all like her. Why do you all like her? Parents, teachers, classmates, and you. Clearly, I'm prettier than her. Ah, what are you doing? Dante threatened fiercely. I warn you, lift the curse right now, or I'll scratch your face and ruin your beauty forever. I told you it wasn't me, it was my sister. Don't touch my face. After a series of crashing sounds in the hospital room, Dante cried out hoarsely, help, help. I considerately closed the door to prevent the sound from traveling too far. No matter who got into trouble, I'm happy. I went to find the security guard and entered the ward together. Dante was lying on his back on the floor, with a fruit knife stuck in his body, eyes wide open, already lifeless. Georgia cowered in the corner, her expression terrified. I didn't mean to. He pulled the knife first. He was careless himself. The security guard hurried out to call the police. I walked over to Dante and took a ring off his finger. Georgia's face was covered in tears. Why on earth? It shouldn't be like this. I spoke calmly. This ring was given to us by a fortune teller when we were 10. He told us never to take it off, and we were both very obedient. But then one day, you told me you had lost your ring. That day, you came to my house and had Dante cook you a seafood feast. When I grabbed you by the collar, I suddenly realized you had actually threaded the ring onto a necklace and were wearing it around your neck. Was it because you were afraid that if I saw we were wearing the same ring, I would connect it to the harm you transferred to me during my pregnancy? Later, when Dante pushed me into the pile of shattered porcelain and I was applying medicine to my fingers, I casually took off my ring and only then discovered this secret. Honestly, if you hadn't come to my house to provoke me, maybe I would never have discovered this secret in my lifetime. I've altered the appearance of the ring, replacing the wedding band on Dante's hand so he could bear the pain for you. Why didn't you thank him instead of killing him? The sound of police sirens wailed outside the window. I curled the corner of my mouth into a smile. My dear sister, if I want to see you in the future, it'll probably have to be in prison. Oh, wait, you're pregnant, so you might not have to serve time. Then I wish you to keep giving birth until menopause. But who knows if your wealthy old man will still be interested in you when he sees your worn-out body. Georgia covered her head. Screaming frantically as if she had gone mad, the police burst in. I looked at the sunlight outside the window. The good days of this lifetime are just beginning now, thank heavens. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.